On the edge of a quiet village nestled beside a forest, Paul, a solitary man who had long made peace with a life of simplicity, stumbled upon an unexpected guest. Behind his cottage, tangled in an abandoned fishing net, lay a young fox. Its fiery orange coat was dulled by exhaustion, its eyes wide with fear, its frail body trembling with every shallow breath. Paul froze for a moment, sensing the animal's terror. Then, slowly, he crouched down, speaking in a low, soothing voice as though words alone could soften the fox's fear. With careful hands, he pulled out a small knife and began cutting through the mesh. The fox struggled briefly, as if torn between flight and collapse, before the final strand gave way. Free at last, the creature made a desperate attempt to dart into the undergrowth, but its legs buckled, and it collapsed onto the damp earth. Paul knelt beside it. He could not simply walk away. Over the next 8 days, Paul transformed his humble shed into a makeshift sanctuary. He cleaned the wounds, left bowls of food, and watched as the tiny spark of life in the fox began to grow. He gave it a name, Rusty, for its flame-colored fur that seemed to catch the light even in shadow. At first, Rusty shrank from him, retreating to the furthest corner whenever Paul entered. But gradually, the distance between them began to shrink. On the 4th day, Rusty accepted food from Paul's hand. By the 6th, he lingered nearby, curious eyes following Paul's movements as he tended the garden. On the 8th, Rusty stood tall again, wounds nearly healed, eyes bright with energy. That morning, Paul opened the garden gate. He knew the forest was Rusty's true home. The fox lingered for a moment, amber eyes locking onto Paul's. Then, with a sudden bound, he vanished into the trees. Paul felt both relief and loss, a bittersweet emptiness filling the silence that returned. Life slipped back into its familiar rhythm, until, 1 week later, Paul awoke to an astonishing sight. On his doorstep lay a neat pile of fresh fish. Rusty had returned. From that day forward, gifts began to appear regularly. Clusters of berries, the glint of a silver button, sometimes a rabbit or another offering from the forest. It was as if the fox, in his own wild way, was saying thank you. Soon, Rusty no longer lingered at a distance. Each morning, he waited patiently at the edge of the garden, tail flicking, ready to shadow Paul through the day. He would trot beside him as he worked, sometimes tug playfully at his bootlaces, sometimes sit and watch with calm, unblinking eyes. For Paul, what began as an act of simple kindness had blossomed into a bond he could never have imagined. The forest, once silent, now seemed alive with companionship. Rusty was no longer just a rescued fox. He had become a symbol of trust, gratitude, and the extraordinary connections that kindness can create, not only changing the life of the one who receives it, but also transforming the one who gives.